Hey everybody, welcome back to Firechild Entertainment. As always, this is Chad, and I've got a quick tip for you, After Effects tutorial-wise. Pretty self-explanatory. I know I got a few comments of people thinking I was going to show you how to make this caustic lighting for the water surface. But for this tutorial, maybe in the future, but for this tutorial it's just a simple composite. This is video footage of water, and what I'm going to show you how to do is put a logo or text or anything you need under the surface of the water, like so. So this is just a simple compositing. Like I said, maybe more advanced in the future, but for now, just getting this logo. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and create a new composition by clicking the Create New Comp button. We'll call it Final Render, NTSC D1 widescreen, 10 seconds long. Click OK, and first thing we need to do, take our text tool right here, click out and type our text, Firechild. Alright, and now if we scale it up, get it to take up, you can use whatever font you want obviously, but for the sake of example, just make it nice and big. And then what we can do is go Layer. At the very bottom of the layer is Pre-Compose. We'll click that. It's off your screen, but it's there. And we'll call it Text. Move all attributes, click OK. And that way, once we've applied all our effects to this, if we need to change our text later, all we have to do is open the text comp and change our text, and it's automatically updated. So that's just to make things easier. Next thing we need to do is I've got video here of water that I shot out at Padre Island. We'll click and drag it out. It's a little big because it's 1440 by 1080. It's HD footage. So we'll hit S on our keyboard and we'll scale it down like so, say 45%. There you go. And if we shut the eye off for the text layer, we can see that this water looks nothing like this water. That's because South Texas, where I'm from, Padre Island, the water's not too blue where I'm from, obviously. So what we can do is, with our water footage selected, is we'll go to our effects and presets, type tint, and you can also go effect and color correction, and it's in there. But we'll take that, drag it out, and that just gets rid of our color data. Then before we go any further, we're going to end up needing a duplicate of this, so we can go ahead and highlight it and go Edit, Duplicate, and we'll shut the eye off for that one. That's just something we'll use later. Excuse me. But let's focus on the color correction for now. Water, and then we'll go Effect, Color Correction Levels, which is off your screen, but it's there. And then let's just brighten this up a little bit by bringing back the input white, like so. Just give it a little brightness. And we can also add Effect, Color Correction, Hue and Saturation. And at the bottom of Hue and Saturation, we've got this Colorize effect. We'll check that. And then you can just pretty much pick whatever color you want. You're doing a horror movie or something, you can have some blood red water for your title effect or whatever. But for what I'm doing, let's go through the colorize hue here to about, I don't know, 215 or so. Gives us a nice blue water. And then we can maybe bring the lightness down just a tad. And add one more effect. Effect, color correction, curves. And we can just give it a little nice curve here. And maybe go into the green channel. And water typically has a little green in it. Bring in the green. Find something you like. I'm just going to go with that. Not perfect, but that's not the focus of this tutorial either. So, now that we've got our color correction, we can go back to this duplicate we made earlier. That all it has is the tint effect. And what we want to use, if we hit enter, we can rename it Ripple Matte. And what we're going to use this for is to distort our text based on the ripples of the water. So what we're going to basically make is a displacement map. Before we do that, let's go ahead and place our text in 3D space. We toggle our switches and modes. We can click our 3D button here. And then use our rotate tool, rotate it on the x-axis, rotate it on the, however we want. Rotate it on the z-axis a little bit. And maybe drop it back in Z space, pick it up. That's all, personal preference, however you want to do it. I'm going to go with that. Now, on our ripple map, what we need to do is Effect, Color Correction, Levels again. And we need to create a high contrast, turn it back on here, a high contrast black and white image. So we can drag our input white over, then drag our input black over, until we find something about like that. You know, once you get the effects applied, if you want to change it up, you can come in and just tweak these effects and that'll do it. But for us, that'll work for now. Now we can turn the eyeball off for it, and then with our text layer selected, we'll set up a displacement map by going Effect, Distort, Displacement Map. And if we set in our controls here, we go to Displacement Map Layer, change it from Text to Ripple Matte, and then change our horizontal and vertical displacement from red and green to luminance, and then just adjust the max horizontal, max vertical. You don't want to go too high because it'll just get crazy. So keep it, I like to keep it, under 20, so I'll go 15 on each for this one. But depending on your font, depending on your footage, you may have to adjust it. But remember, less is more. Don't go overboard on it. Wrap edge pixels maybe. Actually, no. Let's leave that off. Okay, so that's set up. Next thing we need to do, because now if we scrub through time here, you can see that the text has a little bit of a ripple on the side of it, and it's responding to the water. So already it's starting to get that underwater effect. But we need to take it a step further, and we can do that by using our ripple matte one last time, toggle switches and modes, and using it as a track matte. So with our text layer selected, we'll take our track matte, change it from none, off your screen, but Luma Inverted Matte. And if we look closely here, you can see that now those caustics are starting to come over the top, but it still looks a little fake. So let's start giving our text here a little texture. Texture for the text. Wow, say that 5 times fast. Texture. I can't even say it once. Okay, with our text layer selected, we'll change the transfer mode here from normal to, I think it's color burn. Let's try that. Yeah, we'll use color burn, and as you can see, it completely disappears, which, probably not what you want. But if we add effect, perspective, drop shadow right here, it'll kind of bring it back a little bit. Still not perfect, but if we bring the opacity up to about 60 something, maybe leave the distance at about 5, and then soften it out about 10, start to get it, but still it's not very impressive. So let's take our drop shadow and hit Control D to duplicate it. So now we have 2 drop shadows, and our second one, we'll take this direction right here and we'll spin it around just to bring out the other side of the text, which is cool. Maybe make the distance a little bit more, like say 10, and the softness maybe 20 or so. Yeah. So there we go. Now we've got our text back, and it kind of has a sort of a 3D feel to it with the shadow and whatnot, which is cool, but the shadow's a little too black. It's a little too perfect. So let's blur it out by going Blur and Sharpen, Compound Blur. We'll blur it based on our ripple matte layer. So for blur layer, we'll change it from text to ripple matte, and it's way too blurred out, so we'll drop it down to about maybe 2 or so. Actually, I guess we can go about 2.5. Or, just play with this, get something you like. Maybe 3.5. Yeah, something like that. And we can probably go back into our drop shadow 2 and drop this down about 45 for the opacity. Soften it out a little bit. And now we look at it, and we've got this blurred in, distorted matte right there. Looking cool. That is what we set out to create. That is what we've created. Do your RAM preview on it, which I'm not going to do because I'm running out of time here. And you'll see the ripples coming over the top. It's distorting the text. You've got this kind of fake 3D to it, and looking pretty cool. It's a simple trick. It's kind of a optical illusion because we're using drop shadows and instead of making actual 3D text, but it works. It gives it a cool texture. It's quick. It's easy. And it's versatile, so, hey, you really think about it, that's the point of this whole thing. Anyway, future tutorials coming up pretty soon, guys. We've got, a lot of cool stuff coming up pretty soon. Too much to talk about here. As always, this is Chad. Welcome to Firechild Entertainment. Hope you guys enjoy the site. Take care.